Tired of hearing the same ads over and over with AI voices much like this one? Tired of ads telling you to get rid of ads like this? Then subscribe to Matthew Donald's Patreon at patreon.com/Matthew Donald, where you can listen to Paleo Bites episodes ad-free while also getting bonus episodes every month. Yay, capitalism.
Roar, growl, snarl, bellow. Welcome to Paleo Bites, the podcast about dinosaurs that's a real dino bore. My name's Matthew Donald, and each week I and a rotating series of guest hosts talk about and rate a genus of prehistoric animal, be it dinosaur, mammal, arthropod, and so on. This week I'm joined by someone who is not a dino bore by any measure. It's Ben O'Regan. How are you?
Hi everyone, good to see you all.
Good.
And today we're going to talk about the long llama.
The long llama itself. The one it's not related to llamas, and it's not really that long looking. I mean, I guess it's tall, but it's funny if we like.
Definitely has very thick bones.
It's actually, it's quite thick. Yeah, like there's like older depictions with like a moose-like nose or something like that. I
think there's a big debate about whether it was trunk.
Does it have a trunk or not a trunk?
Or...
That's the big thing. But before we get to that, I usually ask a dinosaur way question, but I cannot think of one. So who cares? Let's just go straight into it. We rambled so much in the last episode with Lectitinium. Most of that will be cut out, and that'll be a bitch to edit, but that's okay. That's the job. There's money in this, baby. No. So we're going to get straight.
So for people that haven't heard of Macrauchenia before, you can see
play
it
Zoo
in
Tycoon.
Ice Age and Walking with Beasts.
And play Zoo Tycoon 1. Yeah.
I think it's in Zoo Tycoon 2 as well.
Is it? I don't believe so. I think Civipherium is the one that's in Zoo Tycoon 2.
I'll look it up.
Yeah, because I know Extinct Animals had way too few dinosaurs.
No, it wasn't Zoo Tycoon 2.
It was?
It was part of the, it says it was an adoptable animal Oh, no, wait. Oh, no.
Hold on. I thought for sure it wasn't, but, what do I know?
Oh, no, you're right. It was Zoo Tycoon 1 animal. Wow. What the heck am I thinking of in Zoo Tycoon 2?
I think you're thinking of the Civipherium. Oh,
it's not Civipherium.
It's not Civipherium? Okay.
Oh, they have that giant bloody camel.
Oh, yeah. And that camel's enormous, man. That camel was way bigger than even the T-Rex. The scale, oh my god, look at these animals in the Zoo Tycoon wiki. It's like, man, Zoo Tycoon 2 was an ugly game.
There's a weird glitch of Macrauchenia in the original Zoo Tycoon, unless you got the complete collection released later on, not just all the DLC and expansions, but proper complete collection. Tyrannosaurus Rex and it will not fight, so you can have them coexist.
Oh, that's right. The quagga you can unlock by releasing all the extinct animals into the wild. In fossil hunting. It's a hidden animal.
Huh.
I didn't know that.
What, in Zoo Tycoon 2?
Yeah.
It's always been unlocked when I play, but then I download unlocked stuff.
That's probably the reason why. That's really because normally it's not in the group. But yeah. Man, good memories. But no, it's in Zoo Tycoon.
Zoo Tycoon 1's Triceratops is massive.
Well, yeah, I know. I remember like the difference because I remember I had the Triceratops in Zoo Tycoon 1, then I bought Dinosaur Digs, and then I made the mistake of opening one of my zoos with the Triceratops in it in Dinosaur Digs, and suddenly the Triceratops burst out of the now normal fences rather than because it was like, but also it shrank way down because in Zoo Tycoon 1, pre-expansions, it's enormous. But I think it's because it's a bonus animal rather than meant to be a true animal.
Yeah. Just Zoo Tycoon has that problem in general. Like the Allosaurus is way too big.
Oh yeah, Allosaurus, the Spinosaurus, and the T-Rex is also. The T-Rex looks like 40 feet high.
I know. It's like
it really should be
the size of the Giganotosaurus and friggin' Dino Crisis 2, where it turns up and it's like twice the Rex's height.
Or like an Ice Age Dawn of the Dinosaurs, where they're all sized equivalent to if the mammoth was a pure person.
Yeah, like Rudy.
Oh, man, we're doing a Baryonyx episode pretty soon, too. It might have already come out. I'm definitely talking about Rudy. So
I married a pineapple, an ugly pineapple, but I loved her anyway.
I love that movie. And the Guanglongs in that movie.
Didn't they do a Buckwild TV series recently?
They did a Disney Plus movie, and it was bad. There were some good ideas in it, but overall it was really... And it actually mentioned Roshan, the baby from the first movie. That was the first time they have mentioned him since the original movie. So it implies that humans are still canon in this universe. But the animation quality took...
the first one was very grounded, unlike the sequel.
The animation took a severe downgrade in Buck Wild. So, anyways, speaking of Ice Age, so we're talking about Macrauchenia. I like how I said let's get straight into it, and then we didn't. But that's the show for you.
That's my bad.
No,
sorry.
it's not. It's great. That's what people... If people do not expect that with this show, they would have stopped listening a long time ago. So,
Macrauchenia, a native South American herbivore lineage, which largely died out during the Great American Interchange, or so we think. But there was also an impact a bit before that, which might have had a role too.
Oh, for sure. But that lineage, it was called a litoptern, a group of octoed ungulate mammals, so like related to horses and camels and rhinos. But they're native only to South America and with no modern representatives. So... It's interesting how, like we talked about, like in the last episode with Leptoctidium, how this was an early mammal but it left no descendants. This one left no descendants, but it was so recent.
Yeah, well, it only died out around 12,000 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. I'll get to that here in a second. So size 8 to 10 feet /2.
I wonder how it was able to cling on the same way. I mean, like, the anteaters, the armadillos, the sloths, the ground sloths,
the xenotherians,
I forget the relatives, xenotherians, the glyptodons and stuff like that, they all hung on because they didn't... Yeah. Their roles weren't really filled over in North America, plus they're vicious animals to deal with, the bigger ones.
Right, for sure.
But yeah, how did this thing hang on
so long? I don't know. There isn't really... I guess the only other creature that could compete with it would be llamas, I guess.
And they didn't come down from North America till a bit later.
That's true. They were native to North America, and because camels were also North America at the time too. Yeah, so
because llamas and alpacas are actually camels.
Yeah, and
people that didn't know
exactly, and they're native. They're indigenous. It's weird to think about that. Just a few thousand years ago, there were elephants and camels in North America.
Yeah. It's the weird thing in general. Although they're mainly associated with the old world, camels and horses, especially because they died out in the New World. I think
they evolved in North
Horses
America.
And camels are native North American animals.
Yeah, I think they evolved here. Yeah, so it's crazy. But yeah, so
but there's another group that's had that. I mean, I've forgotten the name of it. It's the pronghorn's part of a unique order of North American. Yeah, they're called antelope-like animals that they're the only ones left.
It's like they're called pronghorn antelopes, but they're not really antelopes. So we see them all the time.
And their horns are weird. Like they've got they're a bit like what you'd find in cows and
I've seen a few.
And then they've got a bony core, but they partially shed like a deer's antlers.
Yeah, they're quite common here. I've actually seen a few, and I've actually seen a few deer in our cul-de-sac. Occasionally, they come into our cul-de-sac in groups of like 4 or whatever. We have to keep the dog away from them because he will scare them off.
You get the occasional ones here in Wainuiomata as well.
Wait, you get pronghorn antelopes in New Zealand?
No, deer, I mean.
Oh, deer. Okay, that makes more sense. Wait, deer?
No, I mean, we've got Sega antelope in New Zealand, but down south, because they were introduced.
I was going to say.
We've got mooses in Fiordland.
I was going to say, they were introduced.
They're supposedly all dead now.
I guess it's kind of like how there are camels native to Australia. Like, Australia is one of the few places with wild camels. So, now...
but it's because there's nothing to really hunt them or compete with them there, so they go feral really well.
Same with rabbits, and foxes, which are built to deal with the rabbits. We ruin ecosystems, man. But we didn't ruin this one. I don't think Macrauchenia and humans ever met. Size 8 to 10 feet, so it's 2.5 to 3 meters long, 1 to 1.1 tons. It was an herbivore, lived in the late Pliocene to late Pleistocene, 3 million to 12,000 years ago, as you said. Location...
About as tall as a person, but much thicker.
Yes. Location all throughout the southern parts of South America, such as Argentina, Bolivia, Brazil, Chile, Paraguay, Peru, Uruguay, and Venezuela. Described in 1838, pop culture appearances, Walking with Beasts, Zoo Tycoon, the Ice Age series, we said all that before. We don't think we said Walking with Beasts, actually. No, we did. We did once. Jurassic Park Builder, and while not an official appearance, the Eope from Star Wars is basically an alien Macrauchenia. Like, have you looked it up? It's the same thing. Like, the only thing is, like, it doesn't have any fur.
It's the one the Gungans use, eh?
No, that's a different one. That's the bird-like one. The Eope is what Obi-Wan Kenobi rides, and to go to drop off Luke in Tatooine. There's a few of them in, like, one farts in Jar Jar's face in Phantom Menace. So when he's like, "Oh,
right, the big tall green things."
Not the green. Hold on, okay. So, if you look at them, they're basically hairless Macrauchenia. Eope.
I'll have to go back and watch it. My bad.
Okay, hold on. No, don't worry. I'm going to send you to Wikipedia right now with the link on the Discord. Here you go.
Those things.
Yes. So
I remember running into one of those in the Phantom Menace video game.
Yeah, that makes sense. They were native to Tatooine.
Yeah, like you'll run past them when you're doing the Qui-Gon levels, and they're just like, "Aww."
Yeah. They appear like in Phantom Menace and at the end of Revenge of the Sith, like, and then Obi-Wan Kenobi has one in the show. So.
And since we've brought it up, if you're keeping this bit in, unpopular opinion, but Phantom Menace is actually my favourite of the prequels.
I mean, that's getting really appreciated. I saw it recently because they did a re-release in theaters for it for its 25th anniversary. So I saw it in theaters like a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, it's pretty good. There's a parts of it where it drags a little bit, but I quite enjoy a lot of it. And we went to the Alamo Draft House to watch. Have you ever been to an Alamo Draft? Do they have them down there?
Not that I know of. I've been to several different types of theatre, though.
This one's really cool is that it shows, rather than just normal previews, it shows a lot of beforehand. It shows a lot of commercials that are themed around the movie. Mm-hmm. So it's like this one. It showed a bunch of toy commercials that came from the '90s when Phantom Menace came out, and it was so cool to go back and see all the tie-ins, like the Taco Bell and KFC, and like all the play Star Wars Battleship, or use the new Gungan blaster or something. And these kids.
I remember that. I got a lot of Star Wars toys when that came out.
There's remember the busts that came on the drink cups of various characters for Phantom Menace that were in fast food drink cups or whatever. I
don't think I ever got any of those.
Yeah,
but
I had a few of those.
The Battleship game.
I remember I had the Naboo Starfighter and played with it before I saw the movie. And then when I watched the movie, I was like, oh, it flies the opposite direction that I played with it on. I had it with the pointy things going forward. Because that's
the same issue I used to have with toys of the Millennium Falcon. Not mine, but a friend's, where I thought it would fly the other way around.
Yeah, with the pointy bits.
Not with those prongs at the front.
Yeah, no, I get that.
I thought that was the back.
Yeah, no, it's the same thing, yeah. When I watched Star Wars, I was like, wait a minute, those Naboo Starfighters, they're flying backwards. It's not true there. I was playing with it backwards. So Macrauchenia is a really unique creature. And one of the things we were talking about this earlier, the big debate is, does it have a trunk or not? In Walking with Beasts, it's depicted with the trunk, as it is with the Ice Age series, but there's some recent evidence to suggest it might have not.
Yes. So the debate, as Wikipedia itself says, maybe it had a taper-like proboscis, but some suggest it might have had a moose-like prehensile upper lip, or a Sega antelope-like nose to filter dust.
Yeah, like a big poofy sort of nose, yeah. So, its feet were more like rhinoceroses, while its body was more like camels, which makes sense because they're both other ungulates.
And it weighed 1 ton, so not only was it one of the last litopterns, but it was one of the biggest.
Yeah,
if not the biggest.
This was moose size, big, which is it wasn't like an antelope or like a deer. It was big. People forget how big Macrauchenia is.
Walking with Beast undersized it.
Oh, for sure. There was a bit. It looked a little bit big in certain. There was a bit where the Smilodons were leaping on top of it, and the Smilodons, even though they're hunting it pretty easily, they are tiny compared to it, though. So it's just everything else was so big.
It's just another Walking with series having that scaling issue thing where the scaling is inconsistent.
Because everything else is so big, it's kind of hard to tell. You got the Megatherium and the Dedicurious. So but yeah, Macrauchenia was big. And moose are big too. And sometimes I feel this way about camels even too. You see camels or horses in movies, whatever, and you're like, oh, it's whatever. But you see them in real life, and you're like, this is a freaking dinosaur. They're enormous. Camels in particular are so big, and moose are even bigger than that. And then you got Macrauchenia.
Oh, yeah.
We talk about like, imagine seeing a Quetzalcoatlus with its 40-foot wingspan. That would be life-changing, and it would be. But I remember being shocked at how big great blue heron's wingspan was when it flew, and that has a wingspan of like 5 feet. So, like, it doesn't. These sizes, they don't need to be that big to be that impressive. Like, they don't need to be the biggest thing in the world to just be like, holy crap, this is a big animal. And Macrauchenia is that way too. Like even this one, as big as it is, like Sivatherium, the one that we thought might have been Zootycoon too, that was way bigger. That was like 12 feet tall and like weighed 2 tons. And it's like, wow, man. It's big.
I just found an interesting bit here. When South America separated from Antarctica and the USA, myriad ungulates orders survived in South America in isolation, blah, blah, blah. Just thinking a bit. Formerly North American paleontologists considered them inferior to Northern Hemisphere taxa and to have been outcompeted to extinction in the Great American Interchange after the establishment of the Central American land bridge. However, more recent evidence suggests that 3 of the myriad ungulate orders declined long before, just as happened to other early mammal groups elsewhere. Litopterns and nota ungulates continued evolving into a variety of more forms of tuxodontids. Well, I think that's the hippo-like one.
Right. Yes, I've seen the
expanded
tuxodonts,
into North America.
Yeah. It's interesting. And it's also interesting, it's like...
Now, it makes sense that the view there is changing because that whole superior biological life forms, that can be number ones, that kind of ties into the whole... although it's exaggerated scientific racism thing that's
for sure.
very much faded.
It's like animals no animal is better than any other. They might be better adapted for a particular niche, and therefore some animals...
Like, survival of the fittest is very much a thing, but not in the way a lot of people tend to view it, like, this animal is biologically superior to this inferior one.
The only time I can
just
see...
smacks of racial supremacy.
The only time I can
disgusting.
The only time I can see something like that actually being a thing is like when it's an animal that's been on an island and evolves in such a way, or like if there's any change, it's dead. Like the dodo, or like the Neurolagus rex, the big rabbits that couldn't even hop and were just so slow and like just.
And obviously, you are going to get some cases where there is proper straight up
where they just come evolutionary
animal, like some predators are better than certain other ones, so of course some are going to go extinct when a more efficient one shows up.
Well, what's really interesting is the Carcharodontosaurids are big, super theropod predators, but yet they were outcompeted by the Abelosaurids. And the Abelosaurids were the ones that lasted all the way to the end of the Cretaceous. The Carcharodontosaurids only lasted until the mid-Cretaceous. So even though the Abelosaurids were...
is also... Abelosaurs are very primitive and conservative.
But they're primitive. They have vestigial basically arms, and they're a lot smaller, and yet they're better at their job than Carcharodontosaurs. So they outcompeted them, and so I think that's very interesting. So
wasn't the thinking more that the fauna like turnover in a lot of the south and around the end of the mid to late Triassic, late Cretaceous transition was there was some kind of extinction event that knocked a lot of the bigger animals out?
Possibly, I don't know. I do know there must have been...
Because you see the same thing in like a lot of the North America and Europe. Although I think that did change in North America. The big sauropods went away, which is what allowed the hadrosaurids to take over with the ceratopsians so massively.
Right. But then there must have been some sort of connection that what made South America to North America, even though they were isolated. Because Alamosaurus was a titanosaur and it lived in North America. How did it get there? I guess it maybe got there because of Asia rather than South America.
I don't think it came through Asia. I thought it might have swam over from South America. Cause,
that's a bit too long of a swim.
Theory that sauropods were good swimmers.
Oh yeah, but hundreds of miles worth of swimmers. I don't know. Possibly, but
even crocs struggle with that, and they're swimmers themselves.
But then I think about those, like the Asian titanosaurs, they're not really titanosaurs. Like was the Opisthocoelicaudia and Nemegtosaurus? Those are like its own little thing. I don't know, but
maybe they did hang on and they just became a ghostly. It's just really hard to tell.
It's hard to tell, and what's really frustrating about paleontology is that we'll really never know because we have so much of it will not be fossilized, and that sucks. So, the fact that things don't fossilize.
And if we could ever go back in time to look, the very act of going back and observing would probably prevent us from being able to do it because timeline branching. That's assuming that there's no such thing as stuff to prevent paradoxes, But let's not get into the whole speculation about how time travel would work.
I maintain that there would be time-traveling goggles where you don't go into the past, but you can see into the past due to bending light or some crap. Where, where you can see into the past, you can observe but not interact. And I think that'd be our best chance. And I don't know how that would work or if that would work, but I think that's our best bet of time travel, is not actually going, but I would love to be able to see dinosaurs like that. That'd be incredible.
Yes.
But alas, it probably will never happen. So, and same with Macrauchenia and this other stuff. But yeah, so Macrauchenia...
I mean, we might be able to clone it one day, maybe. Although I don't know what you would use to give birth to it.
That's true. No, that is the problem with bringing it back. Clone is that there's no real relative. Maybe camels, I guess. I don't know. But...
I mean, I guess because it's a mammal, you could work around the problem that you have with like reptile cloning, which is why Jurassic Park had to come up with the synthetic eggs. Or
right.
I think in the movies they just use crocodile or emu eggs.
I think they say ostrich eggs.
A mammal can be grown in an artificial womb.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. So in terms of Macrauchenia, like
interesting thing here, Macrauchenia was found by Charles Darwin.
Yes, I think I remember reading about that too. Yes, and that was he was not the one. Richard Owen was the one who described it, but I think.
But it says here the fossils were first collected in Patagonia by Darwin when he was on the Beagle, and then Owen described them.
Oh, yeah. He said, some fat large animal. I fancy a mastodon. So, yeah, it makes sense. It looks like when looking at the DNA from the fossils, they are a sister group. Like I said, this is like an odd-toed ungulate. And the litopterns, they're not really... Because the odd-toed ungulates are what's in an order called Perissodactyla.
They're not very closely related to other modern hoofed mammals.
Well, because like the divergence point is 66 billion years ago, which is precisely when the dinosaurs died out. So that's how long ago there was the divergence.
One of the interesting things, because it mentions in here, if I'm pronouncing it right, Noto ungulata, if I've got it right, that South America had a group of false horses, like convergently evolved to look a lot like them, and they actually became, while most of them were free-hoofed, they actually evolved the single hoof thing before actual horses.
That is interesting when that happens. It's like how the saber-teeth were thought were unique to like the Smilodons, but then 300 million years earlier, the Glogrenopsids had them. So, like...
Yeah. And then, of course, you've got Xenosimilis, if I've got its name right. That South American marsupial that had the saber teeth, although we don't think it was a predator.
Right.
I think there was some speculation
that
it
also,
had
like, it was
lips covering them.
And also, we don't even think it was fully a marsupial either. It wasn't like it's a weird in-between sort of thing.
Like the same branch, but like not a true marsupial.
Yeah. So it's weird.
I forget the name of them.
Mammal evolution is weird. It's all very interesting, and one of these days we're going to learn it all. But it is not this day. We're going to rate Macrauchenia 1 out of 65 million, the animal that was like a camel but South America and may or may not have had a trunk and was quite big but not too big. I would give it like a 45 million. So I'm
going to be cheap and do the exact same thing.
Thank you. I appreciate a good kiss ass. No, I'm just kidding. So but yeah, all right, well that's it for this week. If you want to get a hold of the show, you can contact me at palebytespodcast@gmail.com. For any general questions to me or the co-hosts, you can find me on social media at palebytespod on Twitter and palebytespodcast on Instagram and TikTok and everywhere else. And I have a book series on Amazon, Megazoic, available for print and Kindle. No this in there because it took place during dinosaur times, and this is a bit after the dinosaurs. I do have another book series called Teslanauts that has nothing to do with dinosaurs, but I thought I might as well mention it because all these things are linked. I'm an author. My 6th book will be coming out soon. We'll see when. Yay. So, all right.
No, I meant that in a good way. It didn't. I hope that didn't sound boring.
No, it didn't. You're good. But yeah. All right. Well, that's it for this week. It's the end of our episode of Paleo Bites. I don't know what this is.
So I press the red button again.
You press the red button. Yes. Okay. All right. Bye.
It didn't stop. What the hell?